Welcome to Breaking Solo, how solopreneurs break barriers, build brands, and embrace the future of business.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Breaking Solo. I'm very excited for my guest today. Don Stebbing is with me. Don, welcome. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you for having me, Donna. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So tell the audience what you do.
I actually am a global image and presence expert. I've been doing my work for 16 years. I elevate women by closing the gap between blending in and becoming unforgettable, because I believe image isn't about style, it's strategy. And when your presence matches your brilliance, your impact becomes unforgettable.
I agree with that 100%. So good for you.
Thank you.
So you started Solo 16 years ago?
I did.
What inspired you to do that?
Well, my business is 16 years ago. I've been on my own since 2003, doing various other things. Not working in the field under somebody, the boss, I would say. I got inspired because I knew I didn't want somebody to dictate my life. I am tired of fighting the equality gap, the pay gap, when am I going to get a raise and how am I going to, ever get to the top in this business? The only way you actually can do that is go off on your own. And I saw that because you get to dictate who you want to be and you get to show up where how you want to show up. And then also, I think that your expertise are a gift that you can share with the world.
Yeah. And I believe you have a responsibility to share it with the world.
Yes.
And you have something of value. You're given that because you're supposed to be sharing it. I also started because I hate being told what to do.
I love it. You're a rebel like me.
Yes. Like, don't tell me how to do that. I'll do it my way.
No, exactly.
So what's been your biggest challenge being a solopreneur?
Yes, I have. It's really hard to be by yourself in your business. And I've noticed that through my years of being by myself. You can't just sit and stare at four walls all day long. You cannot do that. You need to get out. You need to meet people. You need to be the face of your business. And the challenge usually is for me, once I started, getting out and seeing it, and it became a different challenge. The other challenge would be how to pivot when life changes. And as you know, in the last few years, our life has went upside down. Well, let's start with 2008, 2009, when the crash happened. You had to pivot a little bit there. And then COVID, and then you had to pivot through that. What does that look like? And how do you take your business and reformulate it in a way that's going to resonate with your audience? And so those were some of the biggest challenges that I have. And now we have AI. Yay. I love AI, by the way. I happen to adapt that and I love it. It's my best friend. And the other good plus to that, it's like an assistant and it talks back to you when you ask it a question. So you don't have to wait for somebody to pick up.
Gives me feedback when I don't even ask.
That's true.
Like, Donna, that's not you.
I love it. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. So how did you find this unique niche that you're in?
It took me a little bit. When I started my image consulting business 16 years ago, I didn't know what it was going to look like. And we never do. We might have a vision of what it could look like, but it never ends up being the same. Usually you have to have some type of a vision in order for people to resonate with where you're going and what you're doing. So when I started 16 years ago, I I loved what I do. I just love making women look good and feel good about themselves. And through my years, it has evolved because what I've noticed is that it isn't just about putting clothes on a person's body. It's more, and it's so much deeper than that. It's really about how do those clothes resonate with who you are on the inside? Because if there's a disconnect, you're never going to walk out that front door confident. So I really love and adore the stories I get to tell and the stories that women tell me about what's going on. And then I get to connect those dots.
So do you use that type of strategy to differentiate yourself from the competitors you come up against?
Yes. Yes, exactly. I'm glad you asked that question because a lot of women will call themselves stylists. And yes, I was calling myself that at one time. However, when you elevate to a different level and you're elevating your audience too. What is it that you're moving into? So what differentiates me is there's not a lot of people that do what I do and talk about sales and leadership and mindset and image. They talk about one thing. They might just talk about closets or the clothes or the shopping or color analysis. Those are tools, but that doesn't necessarily differentiate yourself. And my story, by the way, my story also differentiates me from everybody else. And that's everybody's story. When your story can tell, when you tell your story and it can resonate with what you do, that's when you are different.
You know, it hasn't been until the last few years that I felt confident enough to really share my story. Now, it was always in the background, but I wasn't talking about it. And now I just yell it from the hilltops because
Yay.
because people learn from that. You know, they learn from the struggles and from the success and from all of it.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because I think women, and let's call it the baby boomer stage, or maybe even a little younger than that, but not too much younger. But we weren't born with the phone in our hands. We weren't born with computers, out of the mom's womb. We didn't have these tools back then. So we were taught to keep your mouth shut. Do not talk, do not speak as a woman. Men, a different story, but we were told to be quiet. We don't talk about things like that. Now, when I resonate with your story, I resonate with what you just said because it took me a long time to tell my story too. And it was last fall when I spoke to a group of 200 women that I told my story, and how that came about was my story was going to be something totally different. And last summer I was sitting on the couch, was looking out my window, and I had this download that said, that's not the story I'm supposed to be telling. I need to tell the raw story because doing what I do, I always show up put together. People look at me and say, do you ever have a bad day? And I'm going, yeah, when I'm sick. I do have bad days, don't get me wrong. But, I thought, how do I share this story in a way that touches the audience and gets them to resonate with who I am and not this all put together person? And I did, and I couldn't believe the recognition when I got off that stage of people coming to me and saying, oh my gosh, Dawn, how come you and I have never had a conversation? Your story sounds so much like mine. Or, oh my gosh, Dawn, I so resonate with you. I so resonate with this part of your story or this part of your story. That right there was validation of I need to tell more of my story.
Yes.
And it's really hard for us women to share that stuff. It's
Yep.
vulnerability.
Yeah. And we weren't taught to be vulnerable. We were taught to put on a good face and never look like there's anything wrong.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. So I resonate with that as well. So audience, if you're in that place, get over it.
Yeah. It's hard to get there. I'm not going to say it's easy. It really is not an easy task. But again, this is something that I work with. Since I had to work on it with myself, I do offer that in my services when I work with women because there are pieces of them of why they've been shut down, and it comes out in our conversations. And I'm just like in awe when I hear some of these stories, because you think your story is bad or has icky stuff in it. There's always going to be someone else that has something worse than you.
And, I think one of the best things we can do for each other is just listen and offer, I don't know what the right word is. It's not empathy.
Yeah. Thank you, Donna, for saying that, because something really resonates with that sentence you just said. Is I think for women, we need to uphold each other. We need to be on each other's side. Now, we're not going to resonate with everybody out there. That's okay. We don't have to. Not everybody's meant to be in your world. However, appreciate who they are, where they're at. And just like we just said, we all have a story. Instead of saying, gosh, wonder what she was thinking when she got dressed today. Say something instead, like, I wonder what her story is. And come back to, what is your story? What is her story? I'm sure it has, it's a lot bigger than what you think. Most people have a lot of horror in their background. And we can only appreciate that they're trying their best to show up for who they are. And some women don't even know. So
yeah, exactly. I used to, years ago, I managed a real estate office, and the administrator in that office would get so upset by the way that some of the real estate agents would come in the office and their lack of attention to her is the best way to say it. And I had to remind her that you don't know what they just went through before they walked in the door. You don't know what happened at home, or this call they got that, the sale fell apart. You just don't know any of that. It doesn't have anything to do with you. Stop taking everything so personal.
That's true. And that's true. And really, it is nothing to do with you. It's always usually what's going on with them. So if they snap at you or give you a different look or whatever, it has nothing to do with you. It's all about what's going on in their head, in their mind at the moment.
Yep. So I always had to remind her that. So tell me, do you see any industry trends that you think solopreneurs should be paying attention to right now?
The industry trend right now is AI. AI is big right now. And I hear a lot of women in my industry that are afraid to use it because they don't know how. They're afraid it's going to take over your life, which it can if you let it. The other piece to that is you need to learn how to use it strategically to benefit you, not to hold you back and not to be the be all end all. It's there as a guide, and it can be there to help you with many things, such as you have a question and it gets to know who you are really well, which I love, because then you don't have to repeat yourself like, you gotta stop calling me this or stop saying this word because I don't use this word. But once it gets to used to you as a person, it becomes your friend. It becomes your assistant, someone that you can hash things back and forth. It works faster. It thinks faster than you think sometimes. And which is a good thing, because you could sit there and stare at four walls all day long and go, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to do? How do I write this? How do I make this person feel better? What do I, my email, before I send it, sometimes I write the email, I'll put it in chat and I'll say, how does this sound? Does this sound appropriate? Because sometimes I type so fast that my words get mixed around, but it'll come back with something even smarter. And if it doesn't really sound, at least it redid it in a way that it sounds more like you. And then you can always go back and adjust that and say, yeah, I wouldn't say that. And let's just go back to this. But get friendly with it. Get really friendly with it. I love it for many reasons. And a lot of it is etiquette. Etiquette. How do you speak to somebody in a good way? How do you not belittle people when you're angry? How to slow down, because sometimes we get an email from somebody and you're going, in the back of your head, what the heck are they talking about? Or you're getting angry over it or something. Instead of reacting, slow down, stop, maybe throw it in chat and say, how would you reply to this in in a friendly way and not in a mean way. But it has to be your language. You can't just what chat says into the box, because if it's not your language, don't put that in there. But it gives you an idea of how to react in a better way than just attacking, basically. So, I mean, I love it for a lot of different reasons.
I do too. 2 days ago, a client asked me, how do I get recognized in AI when somebody does a search for his industry in the local market? And I had specific things that I thought worked, but I thought, who better to tell me than Claude and ChatGPT? So I went to both and I said, how do you determine when somebody asks you for a recommendation, how do you determine who you present to them? And it gave me they both gave me a whole list of things that they look for. And now I had a checklist of what we needed to do to get the client where he wanted to go.
That's awesome.
And it was straight from their mouth. I wasn't guessing.
Right. And that's awesome. And, I also have my clients fill out forms, questionnaires and stuff. And then I decipher it myself, but then I'll throw it into Chat or Claude and I say, help me decipher this in a way that I can react to my client or have a better conversation with my client. And it's just helping you get out of your head and getting, out of your head and relate to your client that you're talking to, like you and I are talking to right now, and be in tune to them and not about the money in the background or is she going to be my client or whatever. You just really have to be relatable in a way that just makes it flow.
For sure. Okay, tell me what's one tool, app, or resource that you absolutely can't live without in your business?
The ability to read people. I read people very well. I can tell. I have good intuition, but I can tell when there's something off or something wrong, and I think I'm very good at that. And that one I will not live without. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good skill set to have.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So do you have daily habits or routines that help you to stay focused and productive?
Yes. I put me first, because if you don't, it's almost like when you're on an airplane, they tell you about the oxygen mask that comes down, you put it on you first, and then you put it on the person next to you, your child. Same thing is you take care of yourself first. If you don't do that first, how can you take care of anybody else? So it's about your health, your wealth, your exercising, your meditation, your mindset, all of that are a piece of morning routines. Now, if you don't have time, like I don't exercise every single day, but I do know that I exercise enough through the week. Either I'm walking or I'm lifting weights or I do something with my body. But that also gets your mind going before you even start your day. Also taking care of you personally, your personal hygiene is a big piece of that. If you do not take care of that, how do you expect other people to respect you? And I think that is a big piece because we've kind of let things slide years ago when COVID hit. And I'm just trying to make people aware that if you want to be respected, let's show up that way and give somebody it only takes 1/10 of a second to make a first impression today. And that's by a Princeton research that's been done recently. It's amazing. It used to be a lot longer than that. Now it's 1/10 of a second.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's not a long time.
No, it's not. It's really not. And why not make a good impression the first time?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, tell me what's one piece of advice you'd give someone that's just starting their solopreneur journey?
First of all, I would say purpose is one. Why are you doing your business? If it's for purpose, like you really have a mission to do something, great. If you're just starting it to start it, I would think about that before starting it. Like, what are you going to gain out of it? The other thing is to run it like a business and not a hobby. Because if you run it as a hobby, you're never going to make money. And be open. Be open to getting help if you need it. Now, when you first start off, you may not have the money to go out and find all the help you want, but just focus on one thing first, whether it's building a website, whether it's just getting out there and making money right away. If you have something of value, let's say you have a product, you can make money off of one product in a very short period of time to build that website for you. So focus on one area at a time, then everything else will grow from there.
Good advice. Okay, do you have any exciting projects or launches coming up you want to share?
Well, this year is my year of elevating. So I am working on speaking. So speaking more on podcasts, speaking more live events, and also possibly hosting my own event either by the end of this year or a big launch next year. So that's what I'm working on this year.
All right, tell people where they can connect with you and learn more about what you do.
I am on LinkedIn. And it's under my name, Dawn Stebbing. And I also have a website under my name, dawnstebbing.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram under my name. So I'm everywhere.
Easy to find her, folks.
Yes.
Those links will be put in the show notes, so you can't forget. Thank you so much for being with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thanks for listening, folks. We'll be back again with another episode of Breaking Solo.